Hello everyone, this is Salah and you're watching tutorials on JavaScript. This is our sixth part and we will continue discussing scopes in JavaScript where we left off in the previous tutorial. So the final scope that we have on our list is block scope. And block scope is implemented in JavaScript using keyword let and constant. So let's now try to understand how block scope works in JavaScript. As you know, blocks are created using curly brackets. So whenever you see curly brackets, it's a block, right? And in programming, there are many tools which create blocks, like if statement, switch statement, loops, and functions. So I have taken an if block in the example that we are gonna use in this tutorial. Now in the if block, I'm going to initialize two variables. One variable using keyword var and the other one using keyword let. So this is the first time I am using var, but I have mentioned keyword var several times in the previous tutorials. And I also said that in modern JavaScript, we don't use keyword var. And now here I will show you some example which make it clear why do we avoid var and prefer let and constant. Now outside of the block, I console log both the variables. Now in the cancel, you will see a strange result. What we actually see here is we can read out var variable outside of the block. And on the other hand, we are not able to read let variable, right? Now here you need to understand 2 points. Point number one is the var variable is always globally scoped whenever it is created outside of the function. And here you just see a practical example. So if you want to limit the size for global scope, then you need to put it in a function. And that is the one reason we avoid using for in JavaScript programming. If it is not contained inside a function, then it can be reassigned and modified everywhere in the program, right? Now take a look at the let variable. This variable is only accessible within if block. It is inaccessible outside of the block, right? And that is the second point that you need to remember. Let and constant are block scope variables. Let's now put some more code in the program and try to understand block scope from a different angle. Right, so I redeclare both the variables with the same name outside of the if block, but gave them different values. In JavaScript, you can declare variable with the same names in different scopes. And we will look into that in the next tutorial, but not now. Right now, we are trying to understand block scope. And I am logging both the variables inside of the if block and outside of the if block. Let's now study the log result of for variable. The first log result is banana, and it makes sense because we are inside the if block and the variable we are printing out is this one, right? But the strange thing is the result of the second log is also banana. However, the variable we are reaching out is this one, right? That means the value of this var variable is updated by this local variable that we have inside the if block. And this is how var behaves in JavaScript because of its global nature. So if you use var global variable name inside any other block and then update it, then the global value will be updated, right? So the global variable can be updated anywhere in the program. And if you don't know the code well, then it would be a real challenge for you to find out where it was updated. Now let's see how let variable behaves differently in this situation because of its block nature. And here JavaScript mechanism prioritize to create a new variable instead of updating this variable because this variable doesn't belong to this block, right? So this variable is totally intact. And that's why the console output inside the if statement is water and outside of the if statement is soda. So I tried to explain block scope using two different examples, and I hope you now have better understanding how block scope is implemented in JavaScript. Let and constant are block scope variables, whereas var variable is global scope whenever it is declared outside of the function. And you will develop more understanding of scopes when you write code in JavaScript. And there are some other concepts that you also need to know, which we will be covering in the coming tutorials. I will see you in the next part, and thanks for watching.